Live in like 2 minutes. Actually, I'm going to edit the title to be our topic. I'll put the feed actually topic. Alright, updated title. One minute. Close my vent. It's really hot in my room. My sound settings. Quick. Yeah, the mic is good. Alright, 30 seconds. Are you live? Oh, I'll wait till you go live. It's supposed to be like a double thing, you know? Yeah. Alright, I'll give you 3 more minutes to set up. That's fine. Hi, lowercase letters, how you doing? We're trying something new today. Emil and I. I have the Discord call muted at the moment, so it's just me talking. Well, it's brand new. It didn't exist. I'm making it exist because there's a lot of topics about the community that, quite frankly, don't get talked about enough, and they need attention. So we're doing this. It's not scripted or anything, so it's not going to be the most professional, but we'll try to do what we can with it. I could try to put your face cam from Discord as like a source or whatever, and then we can have both of us on the stream. Is there a way to get the audio of the stream just by itself? I think there's tools to do it. Alright. Well, while you're doing that, let's see, how do you enable studio mode on here? There it is. I'm gonna go into studio mode for a bit and fix some shit. Okay, so I don't need music name today, because, well, I'm not putting on music. Alright. I'm gonna do a window capture of Discord and see if it works. You don't have to do it with mine, but I'll go on video call as well, because why not? Alright, I'm set to capture card right now. Let me fix that. No, it's set to the Logitech. Alright, because I have the webcam on OBS right now. This is probably not going to work. Yeah. Well, I don't think we need both face cams on. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do that too. Just turn the contrast down by 0.03. Yeah, so negative 0.03 from what you had it before. Okay, so just, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, switch to X264. And if it starts lagging, just right click the preview and turn on performance mode. Yeah. Yo, we got 12 viewers. Everyone is anticipating this. It's CBR. Like, the only thing you're touching is the encoder. Are you on simple? You should be on output mode simple. Alright. Yeah, if it starts lagging, turn on performance mode. I'm gonna do that with mine. Yeah, and then performance mode. So I turned on the Discord call. So
Yeah, calls on mine, yeah.
Calls on mine too.
Awesome.
So guys, let me know if Emil is too loud. It was like louder than my voice, and I'll turn the Discord call down.
Cool.
Actually, if I go to my volume mixer, I can probably just do it right now.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, you're already turned down on the volume mixer, so I already had that set up to begin with. We're good.
That's good.
Alright, so I made Vilia KD in the past. I created VeeamFi League with Chrome and Virate. There's a lot of other things I've done for the community. You introduce yourself, Emil.
Well, I've been in the community since about 2014, and Made Villia over here is definitely the main person who got me into the community in the first place. So I'm really happy to be doing this discussion with him today.
Me too. So our first topic is just going to be new players and new demographics in the community, because it seems like what our community offers right now caters to one or two specific demographics, and it kind of alienates new players, and there are also certain attitudes in the community that are alienating as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, there's definitely a huge split when it comes to the demographic that plays this game, considering that a lot of people that know about this game can definitely be seen from Troy's YouTube channel or a bunch of other followings, Meanwhile, the competitive scene is much smaller in comparison to that of the casual audience, and it's just very visible and very obvious that there's not much interaction between any of these audiences.
Yeah, I agree. Split is pretty big. So when it comes to the main area for competitive lounge, it feels like the chats in there just are very off-putting to new players. Um,
I agree with you there. There's like no space for new players to be introduced to stuff that's going on. As of now, it seems like players that are introduced to the community just have to like sort of know what's going on in order to get into the mix of things. Unlike back when I joined the community, I was able to get introduced fairly well. There were people around that were able to help me adapt to new things in the community, the idea of clan wars and competitive stuff. For example, I remember a key person that did this for me was Simon Elson back in the days of Survivors. He was a very good person for me to get me involved in the scene and know how exactly all these things would work.
yeah, Simon, he's had his moments, but I respect him. Uh, I led a clan with him before, and
Valkyrie, yeah.
yeah. It was pretty good. Unfortunately, it died because uh, I got back into school, and I
Yeah.
couldn't focus on leading it anymore with him.
Yeah, that
But
makes
yeah,
sense.
like you said, you either have to know your way around the community, you have to know how things tick, you have to know just very little nuances of how to speak, um, what things not to say, what things to say, or you just get memed on. And another thing,
Exactly.
if you're new to the game and you're in people's way because you're slow or you're using your items in ways that people don't like, they're just gonna flame you for it. And that's not acceptable, man.
Yeah, there's no communities that are willing to like help you out there. You're just sort of like expected to be on your own learning curve nowadays. I know for sure, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe other gaming communities have like people there to like specifically get people into the curve, explaining techniques and all that stuff to them.
Other gaming communities, the players themselves, not all the players, there are some that stay reserved, but there's a good portion of players that will reach out to new players and try to help them along. And they also
Okay.
create resources like tutorial threads and just informational threads to help them get into
Exactly.
it. Whereas in our community, it seems like people just want to play in Mogi Lounge 24/7 and not actually provide constructive resources.
Yeah, no one's willing to give up their time to like look into this type of stuff and provide a lot of help for those who are looking into the community.
Lowercase letters, yes, she does get upset at people who use their items improperly, but she's not someone that'll flame. She's just one of those people that are just upset at the fact that there's not enough resources out there to help new players with item usage and how to drive. Emil, you know Zach,
Which
not Zach Ruff, but
Laux?
yeah,
Yeah, I know him, of course.
yeah, he's trying to start a video series, just because of all the game knowledge he knows for just general driving and whatnot. He's trying to start a video series. He's creating scripts.
Oh my gosh, dude, Zach, like this is exactly okay, this is definitely needed. I remember I was talking with Troy about this. We were thinking about making tutorials for techniques in the game. One of the key ones we were definitely going to focus on was spin drifting, slip drifting, all that type of stuff, because all that's very useful both in online driving and as a time trialer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that even current like competitive players don't really look at. Um, that time trialers do.
Yeah.
Like,
Let
for
me let me here
example,
brings up a good point. Like soft drifting is another example of something that people don't really know too much about.
soft drifting is huge. It's
Exactly.
actually so important
If you
to
look at a
help you in a
track like
lead.
SNES Mario Circuit 3, for example, the triple mini turbo stat is very crucial in soft drifting. Luke uses a key technique going to the lowest possible input for his soft drifts. Meanwhile, most people tend to do like just a little bit above that, but it still registers.
Lowest possible input. So it's not 45 degrees on the control stick. It's more like
No, I
less than that.
Zach can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that the input goes all the way to 7 on left and right. Now, what Luke does, okay, a soft drift registers for 3.5 or 3.0, if I remember correctly. What Luke does is he used to be able to hit the 3.0 very commonly.
I wonder how that works with the control stick. I know he uses nunchuck, which is a
Yeah.
little bit different.
Yeah, it takes so much practice to get that down, though. That's one of the key things for him. I remember talking to him about that. It took so much practice for him to get to the point where he can pull off the triple MT at a pretty consistent rate.
Yeah, that is a difficult strat. But yeah, back to this whole thing. There's not enough tutorials out there, man. And what
Exactly.
is out there is not comprehensive enough. You've got the MKW General Techniques thread, which sort of explains things, but it doesn't go in depth enough. It doesn't tell you how to do them. It just tells you what they are.
Gives you a very slight insight into them. No one really goes in depth on these.
Yeah, you need to go in depth. Now, there's a lot of people who, myself included these days, don't really like to type long threads out anymore.
Yeah, if things were to if we were to push towards these types of things, I feel like it would definitely be like a group effort that would be required in order to push that out.
Yeah, I feel like media is the way to like get this across. Videos.
Media is one of the best ways
streams.
possible.
Yeah, hand cam. There's many ways that are more practical than writing out just like a 10-page thread of how to do something.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
I used to like typing a lot, but I don't think I would ever be able to do a tutorial kind of thread. I like to make directories and like short guides on how to like install things, more technical related things. I know a lot of people have benefited from my WeFi guide before the Wii.guide site was made. That's actually one of the most viewed threads on MK Boards, the old site to date. So
yeah, exactly. It's such a good thread. It explains so much in great depth. If people need to see that, that's definitely a great resource. If anyone needs to like see that.
Yeah. I feel like if people just decided to chill out for a bit, not play Mogi 24/7 or Wars, you know, being all sweaty all the time, try hardening it up.
Yeah.
And just took some time to make useful threads or just videos. Like, there are so many people with a capture card nowadays and they aren't utilizing it to its full potential. It's actually kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have the best commentary in the world to be useful. Like, you don't. If someone like, let me try to think of an example of a pretty good player who, has a capture card but never really does anything useful with it. Let me see.
I think Luke would be a good example.
He's more of a time trialer. I'm talking someone who's like heavily into Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe someone like Jeff or Sean Tanney. I'm pretty sure both of them have capture cards as far as I know.
They do, but they're more concerned, I guess, with themselves. I think somebody who fits the
Oh,
bill
dude. Okay, well,
might be
while we were
someone
talking about
like.
these other people, I forgot about a really good example. I think Casper would be a really good
Oh yeah,
example of
he's
someone who could.
perfect.
Casper
He
is such an.
plays so often, and he's not like he's approachable. I think people from the Nordic side of things, like Team NDC, they're very approachable people. They're not very they won't just shoo you away like Jeff.
Yeah, like I like Casper a lot because Casper likes to engage with his audience from what I've seen in his streams and just as a person in general. That's something that's really admirable when you're talking about someone that needs to provide for the community and explain stuff to them. I feel like Casper is a great candidate for something like that.
Yeah, especially with how much he plays. Um,
Yeah, Casper is definitely one who's gathered much experience in the past few months, if I remember correctly. Casper, you've played a lot of lounge events, and of course you gather a lot from that, and you've risen to the top in the leaderboards. I'm not sure how high you are up there, but I know you're definitely up there
I feel
somewhere.
like most of what he does with the capture card is most of what other people do. They just stream their gameplay,
Exactly, yeah,
and they don't do anything more with it.
definitely.
Because with the capture card, you can make videos. You can just do a short Twitch stream, explaining how to do certain things. Shane did that at one point.
Oh,
On the
I
older
remember
version of
he had that series.
1.03,
I remember
he
he had a bunch of stream parts where he explained how to drive every single custom track, basically.
yep, the Wi-Fi safe strats. And
Yeah,
since we
yeah.
didn't have leaderboards, he also explained some of the time trial specific stuff. But now that we
Mhm.
have leaderboards, like I mentioned to him, that since we have a bunch of new tracks, that he should try making another version of that for the new tracks, but only Wi-Fi safe strats, because the time trial strats, we already have the world records, we've got the leaderboards. We don't need explanation of the time trial specific strats as much, or like demonstrations of them, but
On the
Wi-Fi
topic
safe.
of time trial specific stuff, I think we're getting Enmead into getting some videos out to know about how to time trial certain tracks that he's gotten a lot of experience on. I know he's definitely going to make one on GCN Mario Circuit or Maple Treeway or N64 BC. I remember hearing that about him, and he did put out a poll in his community section of his YouTube channel. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing something like that come out.
Yeah, that would be nice. Nick is a great personality on Twitch.
Honestly, yeah,
Um, he tries to read literally like every chat
exactly,
comment as much as he can, which Troy is unable to do because he has such a large following compared to Nick.
exactly.
And I know Nick is growing, but like he still engages so much.
Yeah, he's still
And
pushing to interact with everyone that he can.
I feel like Nick would be a huge resource in terms of tutorials, because
Mm-hmm.
he has that connection to Troy, who is arguably the one who has the biggest following. Um,
Arguably, by the way.
yeah, more like objectively.
Yeah.
And anyone who has that connection is able to reach a wider audience, a wider demographic, and we need that.
Exactly. And I
Speaking
feel
of
like,
like,
yeah, Casper is like, yeah, going to bring up Casper once again. Casper can reach out to probably many demographics if you were to start referring to other people and stuff like that, because he is quite respectable in the competitive scene as far as I know. And of course, he is a growing Twitch streamer. I know he has at least like 700 followers, if I remember correctly. And I know that he can easily engage with his audience. He's like one of the perfect candidates to grow in the competitive scene as well as appeal to the casual scene way more.
yeah, um, I had something on my mind and I lost it for a bit, so let me try to remember what
My
it
bad.
was. Um,
In the meantime, I'm gonna bring up a point that Swearjong, I keep mispronouncing your name, but he brought up a point that Mario Kart Double Dash actually has videos on all the strats, tongue twist,
the
all the strats in
techniques.
the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, techniques. That's what it is.
that's
Yeah,
that's awesome. If someone can just even if it's not a comprehensive video, you can just create a playlist of separate shorter videos, and
Exactly.
and that'll work. I think Zach is gonna do that with his series.
That'd be great. Yeah.
He's gonna do separate videos, which I think is easier to follow along with.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I remembered what I was going to talk about. So there's this player in the community, Dane. He wanted to start a Twitter discussion about what we're talking about right now, community problems, and he doesn't have that many followers, so it's not reaching that big of an audience. There are a few people who commented on it, and the comments are constructive, but the thing is, there wasn't much effort put into spreading it to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. When people think they want to spread a lot of stuff, I don't usually see a big push for that type of stuff to happen. That's one thing I've noticed a lot in this community. I've seen people say they want their stuff to be noticed, but I don't see the push in them to do it.
Yeah, just starting something is not enough. You're not just gonna automatically get engagement and viewers just from starting something up. You need to push it, and
you need to be confident in yourself to push that type of stuff out.
Yeah, that too. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or if people are afraid to push.
Yeah, exactly.
People give me a lot of crap for being so persistent with what I do and being so pushy, but it works. I get
it can work, yeah.
I get responses on surveys. I get responses on things where data needs to be collected. A good example is the VR search survey, and anyone here who hasn't taken that survey yet, it's in the announcements channel of Troy's Discord. Matt posted it.
I also have it in my Discord if you scroll up a little bit.
And it's also in the MKWeekly official Discord. But the VR search survey, we used to make threads about it, about why we need it, because there's an imbalance of skill in rooms, whereas the less experienced players are always in the back, and they're spamming shocks, and they're interrupting the flow of the race. And the more experienced players are out front, and it just creates a less enjoyable experience for everyone when the VRs are so contrasted. So, first we made threads about it, trying to show Ween that, hey, there's a demand for this, we want this, here's why we want this, and Ween explained why it wouldn't work from a technical programming standpoint, how there's not enough rooms, and it'll crash. But this was 2 years ago. This was before Troy came back to YouTube. This was before he made his C2GPR tutorial, how to install it. And this was before that big spike we got on the graph for new users coming to C2GP. That spike was insane. It was bigger than 2014.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most unforgettable things of CTGP so far.
Yeah, that was just absolutely insane how big that spike was. And it's if we can't realize that spike is significant and that there should be enough rooms after that spike in order for this to work, I don't know what else to do. But we've got this big spike of users. I feel like because of Troy's Discord server, there's a lot of engagement just with the game in general.
Troy had a good goal in mind for his Discord server. He wanted to create a place where people could converse with each other and interact in the community. Only problem is Troy doesn't really I don't think a lot of people in the competitive scene really appeal to him, as far as I know. They're
too sweaty.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that, I guess. And they just tend to float away from him because, well, actually, I don't really want to go into why, because I'm not really sure of why. Either way, but yeah.
But anyways, we've got that growth of players. So I feel like VR search is feasible. We have enough rooms for it. So
VR search should happen. I feel like that's really
we
something that's
we
needed.
had 2 threads about it. The first one I think had like 75 responses, and
Okay.
William said no. The second one,
Hmm.
so the first one I believe was just on WeHomebrew.com, and I think
Oh yeah, I
Astrostar.
can understand that not getting too many responses.
I think Astrostar or like Zach were the ones pushing that one. And then the
Does that get
second
posted to
one,
MK boards eventually?
yeah, the second one was on MK boards and it was by Shane, and that one got like
Okay.
150 replies. Some of them were disrespectful because obviously that's what our community has. We've got some of those people,
See,
but
I wanna. I
that's why I
think
made the
like
survey. So like
exactly.
that
Yeah.
stuff doesn't that stuff doesn't fly. Like
I think I want to put my take into this. I think my thoughts about VR search are that I definitely feel like it's needed. Main reason I'm speaking about that is what I'm aware of is that when people are beginning to play the game, like at a really low level, really low casual level, they want to find a way to improve. So they probably want to play people that are like at their level.
yeah,
Problem is with VR search, you're not really going to get that type of stuff. You're probably going to be finding people in higher levels a lot. I've noticed this in custom tracks, worldwide races a lot. I see that there's so many mixes between people of different VRs, and races are usually going the same way all the time. It's like it's not really that fun. And high VR players want to have like a challenge against people who can actually like contest with them for most of the time in terms of
yes.
item knowledge, track knowledge, and just in-game knowledge in general.
Like there are a lot of players. I feel like um, certain like I guess people affiliated with MemePie or the Wii Homebrew scene, uh, they it's a misconception or just like the wrong perception of us that we're trying to just uh, be selfish or have things just for us, that we don't care about the inexperienced players and whatnot, and that's not the case. It's just what you explained. We just want a challenge. That's
Yeah,
really all it comes down to. We want challenging races where it's engaging and fun. It's boring when someone can't keep up.
exactly. It's boring when everything goes the same way every time. It's honestly a very, very unfun experience.
It's
That's
stale.
what
Yeah.
that's like the drive for me playing this game. I always have someone that I can contest with. It's always a challenge that I'm seeing. It's always amazing.
Like there's a handful of players who are less sweaty that still play lounge a lot because worldwide can't appeal to them because they aren't getting that challenge. They're getting that challenge in lounge instead.
Yeah.
If VR search came, lounge would not have as much activity and worldwide would get a little bit more. So
I think right now the main appeal for worldwides is playing rooms with friends. That's like one of the main appeals that I've seen so far.
yeah.
And myself can be like a good example as well because as of now, when I play worldwide races, I like to only play with like my good friend group, like Jax, Fullmore, and many others in the custom track scene. They're like those that I frequently play custom tracks worldwide with.
Yeah. The people I frequently play with are Shane, Sierra, Astrostar, Zach, Eon, and sometimes Mega.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of group. And also the Unbroken group. I'm not forgetting about you. I love you guys. You're part of it. But yeah. But, you know, back to the topic of surveys and whatnot.
Yes.
That survey currently has 805 responses.
The VR search one.
Yes, 805 responses, 705 want VR search to happen.
Wow,
Like,
that's like that says a lot.
like that third question where it's like, should we have server-wide VR search? 705 out of the 805 responses want it. So all those responses came from being pushy. Like I asked you, I think I asked Zach. I asked somebody to see if we could get it into Troy's Discord, and we got it in there.
Oh yeah. I gave it to the staff chat, and Matt actually put that in his announcements, if I remember correctly.
And it did eventually make it into our T-Mogi Lounge, but Sharon never tagged for it. He didn't feel a need to. I think that's.
I really feel like that's a big. That was a huge negative.
That was a huge negative. He should have tagged, because a lot of players in there are completely different from the demographic in Troy's server, and they could have offered a lot of input.
There is one really good bonus that lounge participants would have had in doing that survey that Troy's server definitely does not. Mm-hmm. I think Reg Lounge has the highest variety of skill in terms of a Discord server for Mario Kart Wii. I can undoubtedly say that. There are so many players from different play styles, different knowledges, and different amounts of skill in general.
It's a lot of untapped potential in there. And if just like 5 players, not like there's thousands. There's like 1,100 people in there, and if 5 players took it upon themselves to just be leaders, take initiative, and just create resource threads, that's all it takes. It just takes a few people to create these important resources, and then the rest just follows.
Exactly.
It only takes a few.
Yeah, one key thing to remember there is that another reason for really wide range of players is you have players that go from 0 MMR all the way to over 10,000 MMR in that lounge.
Yeah.
The ranks really do show a big difference in the demographic.
I disagree with the people that say MMR doesn't matter. I think it matters more than VR, that's for sure. It's not going to be a perfect metric. It's not.
Oh no, never, because you can't get a perfect metric in a game that's highly based off of luck.
Yeah, you simply can't. So if this game were itemless, sure, but that would be boring.
Well, yeah, true. Then it would just be the same people winning all over again.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should explain what MMR is for those who may not know what it is. Can you explain?
So what MMR is what was it called? Matchmaking rating or matchmaking ranking, and it works similar to VR. And if you are familiar with other games that use a system called ELO, it's kind of like that. As you win matches against other players, you get more based on what their rankings are. So, if someone had 5,000 MMR and you have 8,000, you're not going to get as much, whereas if you're in a room of just all 8,000s and you're the winner, you're going to get more. I don't play Lounge that much, so I can't put it into a very comprehensive explanation, but that's the basics.
Yeah, MMR is a great separating factor because once you get to levels of higher MMR, you're going to see a lot more players that have a great idea of what they're doing. Because once, when you're sitting in the bottom, you're not going to see people knowing too much about the game. They're going to be basing their knowledge off of what they've seen instead of looking more into it. That's definitely something to look into. Meanwhile, players at a really high level are going to have way more experience because they've spent way more time looking into this type of thing.
Yeah. I want to go back to the topic of sweatiness. It's a weird term, but it's so true. I feel like the big way to appeal to a broader demographic of players is to lessen that prevalence of try-hard sweatiness. more people need to realize that this is a video game. At the end of the day, you need to have fun with it. And if you're taking it seriously all the time, there is no way in hell that you're having fun with it. You're doing it to boost your ego. You're doing it to get reputation. You're doing it to just get bragging rights. And that's not what it's about.
Yeah, I feel really bad about some people
there
that play this game for like everything.
Damn it, my bot needs to chill the hell out. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, there's a lot of players who reject concepts in the game that basically are the epitome of fun. Like,
exactly.
They're not meant to be serious. Like, yes, you can take them more seriously than, what the game developers intended, but they're not the cream of the crop of the metagame. Like, that's just a fact. For example, themes. Nobody cares about theme stuff anymore. Back when we had MarioKartWii.com, for those who don't know, Mario Kart Boards was not the first. MarioKartWii.com was the first. It had about 50,000 members, but due to a terrible administration, that didn't really give a shit about the community, and sorry for the language, but I had to get that emphasized. They didn't really care. They shut the site down because it wasn't making them profit.
Mm-hmm.
So that site was huge. Had so much history.
That's where I got into the community from.
And it had a larger demographic than MK Boards has ever had.
Oh, way larger.
Because of how large and varied it was, we had so many different things. We had people who loved to worldwide. We had themed tournaments. Specific vehicles, specific tracks. And they didn't have to be large free-for-alls either. They were just 12 people. If you win, you got some kind of PNG banner. You got something out of it. It was just about having fun. And I feel like the community has really lost its way. The community, as in the core of the community that moved from MarioKartWii.com to Mario Kart Boards, they've really lost their way. They've really lost what the game is about. Exactly. They've lost, they've forgotten what the game's about. Yeah.
On that topic, I want to bring up something that Six said in chat here. He says, it's hard for people to play the game for fun when people are just that toxic and don't welcome others. Legit, you gotta fight and earn your reputation and respect from the community.
And that shouldn't be the way. I feel like it's amplified by the fact that we don't have resources or anything. So people have to bug other players in order to find their way.
Exactly.
And it's human nature to not like getting bugged. I feel like if we had just, like I said, all it takes is 5 people, maybe a little bit more, to just create resources, welcome new players, just reach out. All it takes.
Yeah, Casper, I kind of get what you're saying, that it's fine to a certain extent, but it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem to address, because I'm gonna take another example from another game that I've had some ties to, but not very much. But the Splatoon community. I remember when I was playing Splatoon on Wii U, I had a lot of interest in playing the game at a higher level, and I did get in contact with some groups, and they were all very welcoming. The Squidboards website, Squidboards, there we go. Yeah, they all had a very useful layout. They had a very great place for new people to introduce themselves, and based on what you know about the game, your ranks in the game, how you play, you could find a group that could help you, teach you, and explain how to deal with the higher levels and what to do in situations. That was one of the big pluses of the Splatoon community, and it still continues into Splatoon 2 today, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like with newer games, people are less established, so they don't have this high and mighty, like, I guess, mentality with them, and they're more prone to reaching out. Whereas this game is old. 10 years old. More than 10 years old now. Mm-hmm. People they're established as the good players, and they don't really want to be humble. They don't.
It's kind of upsetting, yeah, because like people in the MKW community definitely want a bigger competition. The only problem is when new people arise and can definitely show some sort of potential, then no one's willing to, help them get to that sort of stage, and that's just like complete irony.
The phone's going off right now, so I have to mute for a little bit.
Ah, okay.
Alright. Phone's done. But, yeah, there's not a lot of incentive right now to use MK boards unless you want to be sweaty. And if you want to try hard, by all means, go for it. But there's plenty of people that don't. And I feel like to get that larger demographic, you need to cater to things that are just more fun to do and not as serious. I know there is a crap ton of people in our community that hate themes, that won't give them the time of day whatsoever. I get that. But remember how Troy did those, the Dolphin Dasher versus Sneakster or whatnot?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing stuff like that. Like, there are people who like to use other vehicles. There's people who like themes. There's people who just want something more laid back. And we don't provide that right now. You gotta be hardcore to make it in this community. And it is so off-putting. It is so off-putting.
Yeah.
And MarioKartWii.com had just so much more to offer.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing I want to bring up on the topic of wars and competitive with other vehicles and stuff like that. I remember, if you guys saw the video on Troy's channel of my worldwide session with Troy, there was a moment in the video where he was asking me about themed clan wars. Actually, what he used to do back in the day is each person from each lineup would use a different vehicle, and then you would have a war just like that. That was definitely a really good thing to do, and that sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know what happened to that. It seems like people are just like, I'm going to bring up the term again, sweaty. There's more sweaty players now, and they don't really want to it's not as fun when you only want to focus on one part of the game, just the full on try hard part of it, and not wanting to branch out.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of themed clan wars, back in the day, 2012, 2013, this guy Platypus, he's still in the community. He's not a sweaty player. He'll play worldwide with me, Astrostar and whatnot.
Ah, yeah, of course.
He created a sub-clan named Underused Vehicles.
And yeah, I remember seeing videos of that on your channel.
These kinds of wars were a little bit more serious, but still laid back enough. So what we did was, each GP, everyone would use the same vehicle, so everyone is on the same playing field, and it was just a matter of who can use that vehicle the best during that GP. So, 3 GPs, all the same vehicle, per GP. So, sometimes we would do all the same vehicle for 3 GPs, but that got a little bit more boring. So 3 GPs, 3 different vehicles, that was more fun. And we also would sometimes do automatic instead of manual.
Sounds familiar. Sounds
but
like...
that's how we did our wars, and it was so much fun. We came up with a little bit of a rule set to keep things on a fair playing field. We also came up with penalties in case someone tried to, go against the integrity, the integrity of that kind of war, and just wanted to just be sweaty regardless. Came up with penalties and whatnot. Back when I believe Sword was in Mana and Twy and whatnot. Do you remember the clan Mana, Rakuza, Torn, Mega?
Was in that, pretty sure. Yeah.
All these high-level players were like, you know what? This underused vehicles concept sounds like a blast. We're gonna try it out, and that was one of the most intense wars I ever played with underused vehicles. It was intense, but at the same time, it wasn't. Like, everyone was trying their best with these lesser vehicles, but because they were lesser vehicles, I don't know how to describe it, but it definitely was not as stressful as it would be as a full-on Funky Kong Flame Runner clan war.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like I like what Six said here, that the community was more serious compared to now, and I agree with that. I feel like having a little bit more seriousness in that type of environment definitely contributed to a more laid back type of zone where people could do more underused wars and people didn't take everything as seriously.
I'm getting better at the wheelie change up. I'm not going to let that distract us from the topics here.
Yeah.
But, yeah. There was one thing I wanted to talk about that slipped my mind. Oh yeah, our reputation as a community. This is a huge thing. This is another thing that puts people off without them even being involved in the community, before they can even get memed on, before all the crap happens. There's just a negative vibe surrounding our community because we like to do things our way, and we don't really borrow much from other more successful communities. We always like to do it our way. Yeah, we're not open to change at all, and that really ruins our reputation. It is...
We had such great chances to listen to opportunities of change, most notably from players like Riku and Barry, if I remember correctly. I believe those two had a drive to get some change into the community, but
those two people are legends, by the way.
Yeah, they're absolute legends. They both have great experience in terms of competitive gaming. Well, okay, I don't know about really competitive gaming, but they both have the idea of what it should be, what it should sort of look like.
Yeah, they've been in communities where there is where there's just prosperity, really. Back when I was leading the whole clan lounge thing.
Yeah.
Psych came up with this idea from the Dota community because in clan lounge I wanted there to not be any multi-clanning. I wanted there to be a consistent roster so that the ranks actually mean something. And it became harder to field 5 players because Mogi Lounge exists. And, it's just harder to field 5 players these days. Well, Psych came up with an idea from Dota called stand-ins, which are kind of like allies, but it would reduce the amount of MMR that your clan gains if they win. And I thought that was brilliant. That's an
amazing idea.
It allows clans to get that 5th player if they're desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the reduced MMR game, it makes it so they don't rely on the allies. They don't have to rely on them. It's just there as an emergency, and I thought it was great. But yeah, we're really not open to change.
Aaron Burr brings up a good experience here. He says, one time in Mogi Lounge, I was in a tier 2 6v6 with Max, Yasu, and some others. They were all in a call. Oh, hold up. It auto-scrolled for me. They were all in a call, and since I was tired, I didn't want to call. Then somebody threatened to make me listen, or I would get reported for arguing with teammates or something like that.
Okay, that's just gross.
Yeah.
That's just not right. It's like, if you don't want to call, then don't force somebody to call. Like,
yeah. Let people have their space.
Another thing I think that's off-putting to some players is, you know, more introverted players, they don't really like to talk, right? They don't really want to socialize, but they want the experience of a clan. But the clan standards are, if you don't talk, you're probably not passing your trial.
Yeah.
So, clans are off-putting too. I think clans, though, are a better experience than lounge because with clans, you have to build chemistry with other players. You have to get really strong bonds going in order for your team to be successful. Because
exactly,
when you know your clanmates very well, you will predict what kind of moves they make while you're in a war, and it just makes it flow so smoothly. The communication
this is definitely
is
evident
just,
in Daisy Squad.
Yeah. You guys just know how each other works. You, Luke, and Russo, just the trifecta.
Exactly. I've had connections with all these players for a very long time. Luke, for example, I remember when he first made his MK Boards introduction thread, everyone was going absolutely crazy for the fact that he was on MK Boards, and I was one of the first ones to talk with him, like, for real. And I got him into Yowndrift, and Russo was there at the time, I believe. So me, Russo, and Luke all got along quickly since we were, like, already the top 3 BKT holders in CTGP. And it was really easy for us to get along. We started doing fun rooms, and eventually we all just, like, had really good chemistry.
Yeah. I still feel like even with lounge, you can get good chemistry, you know, through fun rooms. It's harder to get wars nowadays, I get it.
Yeah, fun rooms are a great way to get chemistry. You get to interact more with your teammates.
I know in Unbroken, and also in Sierra's server, we would do fun rooms if the worldwides that were going at the moment were just, you know, not very engaging, and you know, it was fun. Like, I think the biggest reason that I am against lounge, and I really do not want to, how do I say it? How do you say, like, I guess, speak ill of the work that Valence and Vito have put into it? Because I've seen the work, like, I've seen the leaderboards because I made Clan Lounge. I know the crap that goes into it, and it is complex. Alright? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to speak ill of that amount of work, but the kind of environment that it encourages is not very healthy.
Exactly. One key thing about people joining the community is that, I'm seeing this in my chat right now, you want to be able to consult with someone if you're trying to join places like Mogi Lounge, and I think that's very true. You want to be able to have, like, some sort of person to, like, use as a crutch. Like, I don't know if that's the right term, but, like, that's what I kind of feel.
So, PJ, MMR is like VR. Um, if if the people in the room have less MMR than you, you'll gain less. If they have more than you, you'll gain more in terms of winning. And in terms of losing, if they have more than you lose less. If they have less than you lose more. It's like the VR system with some tweaks. In other games, it's called ELO, and it's a ladder using that metric. It's not a perfect metric, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a much more skill and knowledge-based system than that of VR for sure. Especially
Yeah,
considering the lack of a VR search.
Yeah. But back to the topic of clans and just chemistry. It's off-putting when you can't get that experience anymore because of lounge.
Yeah.
Now, clan wars are sort of making a resurgence. I know that there are a few groups that still swear by clanning, and they may not have the most respectful players in them, but at least they're keeping clanning alive, and I respect them for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna give a shout out to those teams. Valhalla, whenever Viraith isn't, busy with obligations. Valhalla, Explorers of Time, shout out to Savvy, a former MK Boards administrator. Star Clan.
Yeah.
Euphoria, shout out to Dalen, current MK Boards moderator. Very cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
We've still got a few clans that are making wars happen. I just wish the big names just took a break from lounge during the week and just tried to war. Yes, it is actually very difficult to find a war compared to finding a lounge event. I get it entirely. With lounge, we have this bot. You type a command, it puts everyone into a queue, and then it randomizes the team. It is very streamlined. It's very, very, it's very simple. And you don't have that simplicity with wars. I get the appeal of lounge, but the attitudes it perpetuates and the kind of lessons we take from it are not healthy for the community. So, if we had a way to maybe streamline wars, maybe, they'd be played a bit more. Someone could develop a bot that says, these clans are searching. Type blank to accept, and then it, tags the person. That might be easier.
There'd have to be some sort of, I feel like something else that could happen with that is that you could try to incorporate some sort of command that, if you're the one that wants to accept this war, for example, but you don't have enough people, say you have 4 out of 5 right now and you're looking for a last, you can notify the other team, the other person looking for the war, that you only need one more person, so there's a chance we might accept your war. And then from there, it would kind of be prioritized by whoever gets 5 people first. Once someone gets 5, for example, they could simply input the command, exclamation point, maybe full or something, and then say that they got a war. And from there, you just organize with the leader and maybe a private message or something, and you get going.
Yeah, I feel like that would be nice. Another thing I think people should start doing is scheduling wars. We're getting older, we're getting jobs. The spontaneous wars thing, it's not as feasible anymore the older you get. And I think people need to start realizing that.
Yeah, I've realized that the hard way very easily. It's become more and more apparent with me because I've gone through many different stages of life in my time in the community. Because starting in middle school itself and then all the way to junior year now, my busiest year in school, It's very, very apparent how much things have changed ever since I first joined the community and like had a lot of time from like to almost like no time at all now.
Yeah. I know that some Japanese teams and players schedule Mogies and Bear Wars, but it seems like on the Western side of things, we still try to do the spontaneous, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's why people have a really hard time getting 5. If everyone in the clan can just agree on a time to all be on at the same time, and just, and another thing that they're missing, because there's probably clans that do this, where they all agree to be on at the same time, but then they still try to do the see who's searching right now kind of thing. No, they have to go to a clan in advance.
Yeah.
They need to go to the clans in advance and be like, yo, can you war at this time, at this day? We got work, we got, like, I get that there's still kids playing the game, and if you have a clan full of people who have a bunch of free time, sure, do it the normal way, where you just get a war spontaneously. That's fine. But I know there's plenty of older players who still love this game. It's one of the best Mario Karts ever made. In terms of just what it allows you to do. And we have jobs, we have college. Like, start scheduling.
Yeah, scheduling is always a good way to do it. That's like one of the big advantages of WL.
Like, we have Discord now. I don't know why we can't schedule. We have pinned messages now.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the big features for this game.
Like,
for the community in general.
When we were on Skype, we had so much less ability. It's actually ridiculous. The league would not be able to run at all with the things it does now if Skype was still a thing. It would not be able to run at all. Discord has provided so much for us.
Exactly.
Like, you could pin something.
Searching for messages and pictures, that's a key one as well.
Yeah, you can search. But, like, let's say you pin the time that you're gonna war as, like, the reminder, because people will forget.
Yeah, of course.
And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll make sure to get my team assembled on that day. And the other team will do the same thing, and then they play. And also,
the use of roles is another really good thing that can help with stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can notify a select role if they're,
just put them into the war lineup role, like, just literally right in advance, and then, what else?
Then you just tag them, like, right before the war starts or something. Or, like, give them a pretty decent warning, like, maybe an hour, maybe, like, a couple minutes or something.
Yeah, and with the room stability thing, like, you can save time with starting the room because you know when you're going to be able to start it. So exactly. I don't know why it's so difficult for people to get these things going. It's like I don't want to say common sense is non-existent, but it's getting to that point.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point.
I agree with you there, for sure. People don't spend time thinking about, like, ways to, like, fix these types of problems.
Yeah, they're just too occupied with playing the game, making their reputation as a player better, rather than improving the game as a whole.
Exactly.
Another thing. What happened to free-for-alls? It's like they were replaced by Mogi. Large free-for-all tournaments get so much traffic to forums. They get so much hype because of who's in the final rounds, and streaming them, like, large free-for-alls are just a really hype thing in general. And it is a shame, an absolute shame, that they're not happening now.
I agree. Like, I really miss a lot of those FFAs. Those were like really fun things for me to do. Like, people just don't have the push anymore, like you said. Connects back to earlier what we were mentioning about people writing long threads. I know it's like a simple copy paste, but like people just don't really want to spend that sort of time in putting it towards something like that. I don't know why, but
it's because with Lounge you don't have to put in any time at all. You put !C and you're good to go.
Exactly.
It perpetuates laziness on a pretty ridiculous scale. Let's see, more about FFAs. I know that creating threads and, like, making posts, for, like, the rooms can be a little bit of a hassle, but we have Discord now, and I know CT Lounge is, just hosting their FFA, because FFAs aren't dead yet. Yeah, and I don't want to say yet. I'm just going to say they're not dead, and they shouldn't be dead. But they're hosting their FFA through Discord, and
they provide
it just seems more streamlined. The problem with hosting an FFA through Discord, though, is you don't get a way to verify people's IP addresses.
Exactly.
So, like, alternate accounts can still sneak their way in. That's the nice thing about people making posts on a forum. Like, you can check for alternate accounts. But forums are a dying medium. They are, because Discord provides so much. Do you remember Tourney.comies back in the day?
I do, yeah. Didn't 255 MP run that site or something?
Yeah, he did. Just like how he also made the bots for Mogi. I want a Tourney.comies, like, clone that's more enhanced. Like, it integrates your MKBoards account so that, no alternate accounts can get in. And some other enhanced features would be like putting a Twitch link as a field. So you just get a list of streamers all at once.
Oh yeah.
What else? Stating who can host. Stuff like that. A place to put your internet connection speed.
Yeah.
I think one thing we should be doing more is looking at people's internet connection speed now that we have the high data rate feature.
Exactly. We can take advantage of that sort of situation.
Keeping lag in the metagame is just strange. It's getting a little off topic, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But But yeah, we can make FFAs pretty engaging. So
exactly, I agree. FFAs can easily appeal to many people.
But yeah, another example for the lack of change thing. So it took forever for WeFi League to adopt a disk-only policy because of a very small few who have high notoriety or have friends that can't play on disk.
Exactly.
And
it's really weird.
It was preventing us from having a completely cheat-free environment because people want their friends to be able to play. They don't care about, competitive integrity. But we finally got that in place. And it was so hard for me to wrap my head around the concept of no one being so gung-ho for cheat-free MKW. yes, I get that the game is old, but I don't think that is a viable reason to not pursue it.
Not at all.
I don't care how old the game is. If you have the ability and the feature set to improve the game as a whole, you go for it.
Pretty much.
And this ties into my whole summary of what I think the problem with our selective demographic, our narrow demographic, and just our attitudes toward new players. This is the root of it all, I think. We care about adapting the game around us and our friends over adapting the game around what makes the game more healthier for everybody.
Healthier, more attractive, more appealing to anyone, basically.
Yes. I think that is the root problem here. We want to adapt the game to our own wants and our friends' wants. That's what our community's problem is. We change the game to meet our needs instead of changing it to meet everyone else's needs, and instead of trying to adopt the philosophies or the tactics, the functions that other communities do that are successful, we do it our own way because we just want to appeal to ourselves. And that's why we don't grow. That's why we're toxic, and it needs to change. It really needs to change.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to other communities looking at us, they look at some of the stuff we do and they're like, what? Like, I was talking to someone, I don't remember their entire background, but they told me, what the hell is a subclan? Like, I know we came up with the concept of subclans in 2011, but back then they had a purpose, and now they're just kind of the same as any other clan, which is dumb.
There's no definition of a main clan anymore.
Yeah.
Another tie to Mogi Lounge yet again.
Yeah. It was happening even before Mogi Lounge, because I made the mistake of letting subs into Wingfly League because we had such a small player base after shutdown. That's my fault, but we're starting to correct it. As of season 14, Wingfly League is mains only now. If you put your clan into Wingfly League, it is considered a main now. Period.
Yeah.
There's no defining characteristics of mains and subs yet, but that should come in due time. But other communities, they don't have sub-clans. It's like multi-clanning is taboo. You just don't do it. Because there's a lot of problems it causes.
Yeah, that's another really key thing. Yeah.
But yeah, subclans are an example of a homegrown thing that other communities, outsiders, are just are like, what? And now our double round robin for leagues, I don't think it's as big of an offender as the whole subclan concept, but I think the big offender here is we don't try a variety of formats in our competitions. Whereas I know the MK8 community has tried Swiss. They've tried I think single round robin. They've just tried a bunch of different stuff. I like how World Cup brought something sort of new to the table. 66. It was like a cup tournament. You had a group stage, but then you had a bracket right? You had an elimination stage. And World Cup was huge. Like 3 years ago, we had a stream get like, 4,000 views?
Yeah.
And what appalls me is that people don't want a World Cup anymore because the few top players from a couple years ago for Grand Finals didn't play Grand Finals due to really petty reasons such as, they wouldn't reschedule for us, so we couldn't get our best lineup. Like, crap like that is just asinine. Absolutely asinine. The people who, like honestly, don't let that team let those teams participate then, or put in a new team for that country, or just, I don't know, grow up.
True.
And play the Grand Finals match. Like, jeez.
Yeah, exactly. That's like one thing. If the team made it to Grand Finals, then like, what's the issue of like not gathering the lineup that you want?
Yeah. I think it was 2017 or was it 2016? No, I think it was. I don't know what year was the last World Cup, but Grand Finals weren't played, and it was so dumb, and people don't want a World Cup anymore.
Sure.
There are people though who there's a hive mind mentality that's also a problem. Whereas when someone says one thing, they just piggyback right on it.
Oh yeah.
So one person was like, "Please do not do another World Cup," and it's like they aren't explaining why. First of all, they're just saying, "Please don't do this." Critical thinking is a very important aspect of living, and if you're not explaining why something shouldn't be or how something shouldn't be, then you shouldn't have as much validity or credibility. You really shouldn't. I really don't like when people don't explain their points. They're just like, yeah, no, don't do this again, because it prevents you from being able to create a counter argument when they don't have an argument to begin with that you can counter. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of a mouthful, but I think you get it, right?
I get it, yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually really glad that we did this, because I don't honestly talk that much on stream. I really don't. But when it's something that I care about, I run my mouth. I really do.
Sense. Yeah, well, it makes sense. Like, if people have thoughts that they really want to let out and send a message to, then it's important to let that sort of stuff out. That shouldn't be hidden.
Yeah, but the goal I want from this kind of podcast is I want more people to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
I want other perspectives on these issues. If people want to make a thread because of this podcast, go for it. Or if you want to make a Twitter thread and not a forum thread, go for it.
Feel free. I'm definitely saving the VOD of this for sure.
I'm saving mine too. It feels like the community doesn't have as much of a lively scene because there's not much engagement on important issues. Everyone's just playing the game to get their rating higher. And that's boring, that's stale, it's not engaging, it's not lively, it's not living. When I look at this community, I see a bunch of robots playing races to get a higher ranking. That's what I see. I don't see humans. Can we get some humanity in here?
Well, Zach, I see. Okay, I get what you're saying about threads, but there's got to be some movement because VR search doesn't. Okay, here's the difference between this and a thread about VR search. VR search appeals solely to a small group of players, because As of now, at this point, many of the top competitive players have their mindset like on playing lounge instead of a worldwide. Meanwhile, something like this is something that can attract everyone in the community. This affects every single person that plays this game at a competitive level. That's the main difference between this and something like VR Search.
Yeah, VR search is not something that everybody um, that everybody really cares about anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also one of those things where if we did actually get it, people would be like, "Oh, it actually happened! All right, I'll play some worldwide." Like there are people like that in lounge right now who they're not as sweaty, and they would prefer the more laid back environment of a worldwide if VR search was here.
Yeah, definitely. VR Search would definitely be a great change for the community. I can already see that. I remember for a very brief amount of time, we had a worldwide type of environment, and
We had a worldwide lounge, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Tripa made it. He would gather players together and try to get engaging worldwides going with
Yeah.
skilled players because we didn't have VR search. My problem with that over VR search is we made it exclusive on purpose because we didn't want the rooms to get lopsided. It wasn't because of a vendetta towards inexperienced players. VR search makes it to where we don't need to do this exclusive crap. It's just going to balance everything out, and we don't need to exclude anyone.
Yeah.
There are people who want to make custom regions and whatnot that are secret to exclude other players because we still want those engaging rooms, and it's a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're almost at 90 minutes. Trying to think about if there's any other things we could talk about, but I think we covered most of it.
On the topic of new players and inclusion and all that stuff, I think we covered a fairly good amount.
Yeah, like the problem that we had during this podcast is we jumped around and we didn't just stay on one topic then move to the other. We jumped around a lot because this was not going to be professional. This was not going to be high budget. Like we're just trying to express our opinions on certain things. So I highly recommend everyone to just watch the VOD when it goes up, and I'll try to upload the audio somewhere so that you can just listen to the audio. But yeah, I really hope things like this get us to start talking, get us to start making change happen, because we need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'll sum it up with like a list of what we talked about. We talked about our outside reputation. We talked about lounge. We talked about sweatiness. We talked about the concept of fun and how people are forgetting about it. We talked about ways to appeal to other demographics such as themes and VR search and fun rooms. Clans becoming more of a staple again would be nice because of the kind of things it encourages, like chemistry, making friends, very positive things. We talked about tutorial threads, resources that are needed. We talked about how people don't really reach out and how we just need a few people to start reaching out and it can make a difference. We talked about how people need to be more pushy when they want things to get views, to get attention. We talked about examples like the VR search survey, I made a high data rate survey to see what competitive players think about high data rate and how lag affects the metagame.
Yeah.
I can't think of much else.
And that was a pretty good cover, so yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So, when's the next time you're free? 'Cause
I might be available Friday. I should
all
be
right.
available Friday.
So, guys, stay tuned. Maybe Friday we'll do another one of these on some different topics. Maybe something more related to CGGP features or the metagame. Something that'll be engaging. It'll be engaging. It won't be too alienating. It won't be targeted towards a one specific demographic.
Yeah. After all, this type of thing that we're doing is all about uniting players from different demographics in this game, because that's what a video game should be. We're trying to fix this issue that we seem to have in this community.
One other thing I want to bring up about multiple demographics. Mario Kart Boards is recruiting more moderators, and we really want to try to expand the demographic of staff that we have. For the longest time, our staff has catered more to the competitive demographic, the one that is the most established right now. We want to expand that. If you are a new player but think you have a lot to offer to the table, if you're a modder, if you're a casual player, competitive, it does not matter what you are. If you think you can provide something for the website, we want you. We want to see you make an application. We want to hear what you can bring to the table, and we might just bring you aboard, because we want to make the site appeal to a wider range of players, and to do that, it starts at the leadership level. So help us out here. You can apply. I'll get the link for you guys.
Yeah,
where you can apply.
In my chat as well.
Staff applications. And Emil, if somehow you got the staff applications link in Troy's Discord, that would be huge.
I'll look into it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where you guys can apply. Right there.
Okay.
And like I said, we're taking all kinds of demographics. We want to expand. We're sick of just having this one demographic. It's not healthy for us. We want a more engaging site. We want a more lively site. So
yeah,
if you want to help out, we would appreciate it. I'm currently a moderator there, so you see a familiar face. So that'll wrap it up. Follow the channel. I'll try tweeting these out on my Twitter in the future before we do these, as a way to notify people that, hey, another podcast is gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, follow the channel, follow Emil, follow the people that we shouted out today. They're awesome.
Guys, be sure to follow Madevilia at this link here. Tuxedo, thank you for the 20 bits. Glad you enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of podcast. Definitely a first-time thing for me. Really felt like it was needed to do this.
Yeah. That'll wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching the stream. And not sure if I should keep going or if I should just end the stream. Yeah.
Well, then don't put your age down. Just message it to staff during an interview or something.
Lex, thank you for the oh my gosh, Lex, thank you for the 100 bits. I hope you guys really. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this content. And
Okay, so erratic high data rate increases the network traffic between players to reduce lag. That's what it does. However, you need a certain requirement, a certain speed for your internet connection in order for it to run properly, or you actually lag more than if high data rate was turned off. So
okay.
high data rate reduces lag between players. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna end it now, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll try to do more of these. This was really fun. It's been a while since I was able to talk this long about something, and I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to do more of these in the future.
Yeah, definitely. This is awesome. This is great. This is awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Get those credits rolling.
I think I'm going to keep time trialing because I've already been playing Alpine Peak for over an hour. I might as well keep going for it. I've hit some good laps.